Home and away spoilers. Alf Stewart gets his 5 minutes of fame. Alf saves the day when John gets stage fright before his big TV debut, while one of the Lyrik crew finally lands themselves a job. Celebs are abound in Summer Bay next week, as production begins on Stevie Marlowe's new rom-com movie All Our Tomorrows. Wishing to keep cash on as her personal security, despite his not wanting to leave Summer Bay, Stevie instead convinced director Nelson to relocate the filming of the movie to the seaside town. Surf Club president Alf wasn't too keen on the prospect of Hollywood heading to Summer Bay either, but Nelson's promise of a $50,000 fee saw club manager John swiftly accept the offer behind Alf's back. If Hollywood being in town wasn't enough, the residents are excited to learn that the Sunrise crew are heading to Summer Bay to interview Stevie. With John still hanging off Nelson as he offers his assistance any way he can, Nelson asks if he'd be willing to sign a release form. They want to begin Stevie's interview by having John drive her onto the beach in the surf club's Can-Am buggy. John is stunned, and Marilyn goes to ring Jet to tell him that his dad is going to be on national television. John spends the rest of the day telling people to be sure to tune in the next morning, but when the day finally dawns for JP's 15 minutes of fame is nowhere to be seen. Alf is confused, as is Stevie, who is reassured by Cash that John won't let her down. As Alf goes to investigate, he finds John in the surf club office in a panic as he attempts to go through some rehearsed words. John's managed to psych himself up so much that he has stage fright. With only minutes to go until the live broadcast, Alf is forced to step in and drive Stevie down to the beach. Stevie realizes that Alf must be wishing he was anywhere else right now as they await their cue, but the two end up sharing a touching moment when they realize that they actually have a mutual interest in fishing. It's plain to see for Alf that Stevie has worked hard to where she's got today, and she's grateful for his kind words. Stevie's quick to introduce Alf to the viewers as her new fishing buddy, with Shervo commenting that he has quite the fan. As the interview goes on, Stevie is momentarily thrown when Shervo brings up the subject of her stalker. Sydney Wickham Sydney is currently on remand after attempting to attack Stevie. Stevie admits that it was a tough time, but now that is behind bars. After the interview draws to a close, Alf is able to play chauffeur again to Shervo as he asks for a lift back up to the club. Meanwhile, a saddened John sits alone in the office as he receives a text from Jet, who had organized a watch party with his mates, asking where he was. Poor old JP. Elsewhere in Summer Bay, the foundations of Lyrik's sharehouse are shaken when one of the residents becomes employed. With the band having performed their first gig of the year as a foursome at manager Justin's wedding to Leah, the group are now on another enforced break after lead singer Theo needed time out for his mental health. Whilst Remy is occupying himself romancing movie star Stevie Marlowe, and Eden has been busy throwing daggers at brother Levi and his lover Mackenzie, Kirby is finding herself at a loose end. Although Kirby is at least trying to be productive by using the downtime to write new songs, her muse seems to have taken a leave of absence. Bored in the diner, Kirby risks the wrath of Stewart when she looks over Alf's shoulder and gives him the answer to his crossword clue. Meanwhile, Marley is becoming snowed under with board orders. After encountering Stevie at the board shop as she admired his handiwork last week, Marley was thrilled when she offered to post a pic on her socials. The closure of the beach for the Sunrise interview throws Marley out of balance further, realizing that he'll have to cancel his early morning surfing class. He cannot simply reschedule as it's his busiest class, full of people who wish to get in a surf before work. Marley offloads to girlfriend Rose, who subsequently mentions it to Rue. When Rue later calls into the diner and tells Alf that Marley is struggling, Justin is in the midst of asking Kirby how her songwriting is going. "Are you at a loose end?" Rue asks when she hears that things aren't going too well. "Too right she is," chuckles Alf. In that moment, Rue has a flash of inspiration and drags Kirby down to the surf club, where she introduces her to Marley. The two point out they have met each other once or twice before, but that's not the point. Rue knows they're both struggling at the moment, and with Kirby being an excellent surfer, perhaps the two could have a little chat. As Rue leaves the club with a self-satisfied grin, has she just solved Marley and Kirby's problems?
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của Home and Away Spoiler Today. Xin chào.